Good morning, lovely yogis. Thank you so much for joining me today for some yoga. I thought we would work into our hips with some lovely deep opening and stretching. There'll be a few kind of longer held heating up poses at the beginning of class, and then we'll move into some lovely stretchy poses. You may like to have a blanket to cushion yourself. If you like to use blocks to help prop yourself up, you can grab a couple of blocks as well. Nothing is completely required, just things that make your practice perhaps a little bit nicer. When you're ready, you're going to sit on your mat and place the soles of your feet here in front of you. You want to walk your hands a little behind you so that you can lift the center of your chest. And it doesn't matter if you're facing the short edge of your mat or the long edge of the mat. You just need a little bit of space to take your knees from side to side here. Press down into the heels of your hands, lift the center of your chest as you inhale. As you exhale, take your knees to one side. You can go just a few inches, or you can go all the way down and bring the legs almost to the floor if you want. Inhale to the center, and exhale to go the other way. And you're just gonna go a little bit side to side here. Just gently warming up. This should not be painful. You don't have to exceed the range of motion that just feels pleasantly a little stretchy, a little opening up. Keep going side to side. You can change the pace to suit how you feel this morning. You're welcome to go a little faster or to go really quite slow and linger for a few breaths on each side. Maybe once or twice more to each side, depending on how quickly you're going. And then come back when you're ready to the center line. Sit cross-legged, just noticing that you're crossing one leg in front, doesn't matter which, we're just going to switch part way through, and you'll want to remember which one was the one that was in the front. If you want to sit up onto a blanket or a block, please feel more than free to do so. When you're ready, inhale your arms up over your head. As you exhale, bring your right hand down and your left arm over, finding a little bit of a side stretch. Think about gluing your left hip to the floor here. So you're getting all of the stretch right at the top of the hip, all the way through the rib cage, maybe even up through the armpit and the arm. Feel free to turn your gaze up if that feels nice. Inhale where you are. As you exhale, you're going to take your left hand and bring it as close to your right hand as you possibly can. It doesn't have to reach, just as close as it gets. And then bring it to the floor and walk yourself towards the center line. You can be propped up quite high on your fingertips. You could even use a block here. Or you can crawl your fingertips forward. Just feel a gentle stretch at the back of your hips. Maybe move a little bit side to side if that feels good. Now you're going to walk all the way over to the left with your fingertips. Just as far as you can, plant your left hand down and sweep your right arm up over your head, coming back into that side bend. Now really glue your right hip to the floor. Really feel the stretch through the whole side of the body. Gaze up, totally optional. You could be looking equally well down or to the center line. See what feels really nice to your neck and to your shoulder this morning. Again, inhale where you are. As you exhale, the right hand comes as close to the left hand as possible. And then you walk back to the center line. Again, take a few breaths here. Maybe moving. Maybe you find a spot to be still that feels really good. And kind of moving my shoulders a little forward and a little back just because that feels nice. Feel free to explore and see what feels nice to you. You can even be drawing circles with your torso here. There's really no wrong way to move that feels like it's opening up your body this morning. And then you're going to walk your fingertips towards you. You're going to gather your knees in. Place the soles of your feet again on the floor. Maybe go a little wider than your hips this time. Again, lean back. Lift the center of your chest. We're going to do this a little bit slower and with an addition. Lift the center of your chest. Inhale. As you exhale, take your knees to your right. Your left knee should end up on the inside of your right foot, whether it's to the floor or up in the air. Doesn't matter. You're going to lift your left hand and you're going to push your left hand all the way back, kind of in a diagonal line parallel with your right knee. As far as you can go. Stretch, 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 stretch. And then come back to the center line. Bring the hand around and down to the floor. Lift the knees to the center line. Take the knees to the left. Again, you want I have to think about this. Your right knee to be on the inside of your left foot. Your right hand presses that diagonal line past the other knee. And you reach and you feel a little nice stretch. And then you come back. We're going to do that twice more to each side at your own pace. It should take about a full breath or so to complete each side. Inhaling to the center. Exhaling to push away. And of course, you can be going a little faster or a little slower. When you're ready, you come back to the center line. You're going to cross that second foot in front. So I did my left foot first, now I'm doing my right foot in front. Feel free again to sit up if you move to prop out of the way. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. This time you're going to exhale over to your left first. Relax the left hand down. Press the right hip to the floor. Feel free to look up if that feels nice. This is your inhale. As you exhale, you're going to cross your right elbow down towards your left knee, just as close together as you can get them into a little twist. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cross and reach. Inhale up. You're going to do one more like that. And you're going to stay low again. Release your right hand to the floor. Walk all the way to the other side. No pause in the middle this time. Plant the right hand down. Sweep the left arm up over your head. Relax your shoulders. Feel free to look up. Really glue that left hip to the floor so you feel the side stretch. That's your inhale. Exhale, left elbow to right knee. Inhale to open up. Exhale, elbow to knee. Last one. Stay low. Release the left hand. Now walk back to the center line. This time you're going to linger a little bit. Any movements that feel nice. Maybe adding a little bit of movement in your neck. You could look side to side. You could create some circles if that feels good. You go along with your shoulder movement. And when you're ready, walk your fingertips back in towards you. Roll your shoulders back. Gather your knees in. You're going to place the soles of your feet one more time on the floor. This time about hip distance apart. Lift the center of your chest. You can hold the fronts of your shins or the backs of your thighs as you lean back a little bit. You want to feel your abdominals activate. You want to continue to lift the center of your chest. If that feels like a lot, put your hands on the floor behind you like we were doing with the windshield wipers and stay here. If you feel like you want a little more holding on to the backs of the thighs, you could float your feet. And we're just holding our boat pose today, so you don't need to do any pulses or anything like that. You just want to kind of hold and start to feel your abdominals wake up a little bit. And I want you to work in a spot that there's no pain or discomfort. You just feel the front wall of your torso becoming alive. You're like, oh yeah, I feel that something is happening there. It's not super intense. You can extend your arms if you need to. If you really don't feel anything, you can extend your legs. I can feel quite a wobble there. It gets a little iffy in my lower back, so I'm going to come back to right here, maybe even holding my legs. just want to feel a little bit. And also we're going to stay here a little bit longer. So if you feel a lot right now, you are on risk of collapsing in another about 30 seconds here. So go to the place where you can stay for a little bit longer. Keep lifting the center of your chest. If you start to hunch, you're working too hard. You want to add an extra layer of support, hands behind the thighs or hands behind you. Maybe even lowering the feet to the floor for a moment. It's okay to switch position to maintain the pose. If you need to let it go because it's too intense, go for it. Let go. Relax. And I've been doing so much talking that you only have one more breath here. And then you're going to release. Bring the soles of your feet together. Bring your knees to the side. Feel free to prop underneath them and find a little forward fold. Maybe move a little bit if that feels good. Maybe you find a spot that feels just right and you just hang out. When you're ready, you're going to gently roll yourself up, roll your shoulders back, and make your way to your table pose. Your hands come under your shoulders, your knees will come underneath your hips. Spread your fingers really nice and wide. Shrug your shoulders back. Inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to come into a cat pose, lifting your belly button up, tucking your tail and your gaze down. As you inhale, you're going to roll your spine over to the right and start to drop it down, coming through your cow pose. As you exhale, keep moving at the bottom of your cow pose over to the left. And then as you exhale, come up and back to your cat pose. Inhale, over to the right and down. Exhale over to the left and up. So you're rolling your torso as if you were inside of an imaginary barrel. And we'll go a few more times in this direction. Starting off to the right. And then we're going to switch directions. So as you come back into your cat now, you're going to inhale over to the left and down. And then exhale to the right and up. A few more times this direction, rolling inside this imaginary barrel. Last one. This time you'll come back through that cat pose, and then you'll come gently to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes under. Rock a few times forward and back, just massaging the feet and the wrists. And then when you feel ready, rock your weight forward so your shoulders are over your wrists, and then press down into the balls of your toes and lift to your downward facing dog. And again, here, move around a little bit, pedal the feet, sway the hips. Anything that feels nice, pleasant, stretchy. Maybe you like to turn your toes out like a little Charlie Chaplin and walk your feet up and down there. That can feel really quite pleasant to the hips. I also like to imagine here that I'm Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins doing that penguin dance. When you're ready, bring your feet back to facing straight forward and back. If you took them over to the side, inhale here. And then as you exhale, walk your feet towards your hands, coming to dangle at the front of the mat. Nice soft knees. Feel free to grab a prop for underneath your hands or to rest your arms on your thighs if that feels better for your back. Maybe interlacing the hands to the elbow, maybe swaying a little bit. Releasing the arms if you lace them up. Inhale, find a halfway lift, maybe hands onto the shins or the thighs, especially this first time. As you exhale, release. As you inhale, you'll ragdoll yourself to the sky. Keep the knees soft. Roll one vertebrae at a time. Maybe even walking your hands on your legs for some extra support. When you reach standing, roll your shoulders back. Maybe lightly turn your palms forward and take a deep breath. As you inhale, bring your arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold yourself forward. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands down. You can walk or step or hop your feet back to your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath here. If you prefer, you can always come to your table pose. And then on your inhale, come forward to your plank pose. Shoulders are over the wrists. Knees can be up or down on the floor. Your choice. Tuck your elbows in. You want to lower all the way to the mat here. All the way down. Untuck your toes. Your hands come right underneath your shoulders. Press all 10 fingers down. Press all 10 toes towards the mat if you can. Lift the center of your chest. Just a baby cobra. Nice and low. You should be able to not use your hands here without collapsing. Inhale. As you exhale, release. You can leave your hands on the floor or you can bring your hands back by your sides. Your choice. Your forehead can be resting on the floor for this one. You're going to lift your right leg up. Squeeze it towards the midline and lower it down. Lift your left leg up. Squeeze it towards the midline and lower down. Repeat twice more on each side. Right leg lifts, squeezes in and lowers. Left leg lifts, squeezes in and lowers. To the right and in and lower. Left, squeeze, lower. Inhale, now lift both of your legs. Option to float your upper body if you want to. Totally optional. You can see how that feels in your lower back. If it feels better, keep your hands down or even create a cushion with your hands for your head. You're going to swim your legs. Lowering and lifting, alternating. Just getting into the hip socket here. And keep going until you feel a little fatigued around your glutes, around your buttocks, around your hips. If you feel a lot of discomfort in your lower back, please take a break. Maybe another breath or two, swimming. If you feel really frisky, you could always swim your arms here as well. Last breath if you're still going. And then lower everything down. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press yourself back. Child's pose. Feel free to take your knees a little wider. Let your hips come heavy towards your heels. Take a nice deep, full breath. Really relax here. As you inhale, come back to the center. Come to your table pose or tuck your toes and come to your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath there. And with your next inhale, float your right foot to the sky. Bend your right knee, stack your right hip on top of your left. Scorpion pose, a little stretch for the inside of your hip. And then inhale, square your hips. As you exhale, you're going to step your right foot forward up between your hands. Bring your hands to the inside of that right foot. Turn your left foot to face the long edge of the mat and start to walk in that direction. Right foot turns to face the long edge of the mat as well. And find your wide-legged forward fold. Feel free to adjust the angle or the distance between your feet or to grab a prop. And come just as far forward as feels pleasantly stretchy here. Take a couple of deep breaths. Feel free to add an arm variation if you want. Arms behind you. Hands on the ankles. When you're ready, you're going to release your fingertips to the floor. Lift up about halfway. Feel free to put blocks underneath your hands if the floor feels far away. Turn your toes out and your heels in. You may have to adjust the distance between your feet because you're going to bend your knees and walk your hands up to your thighs to goddess pose. Take a moment to find a stable position where your knees are tracking over the center of your feet. So if you turn your feet like all the way to the short edges of your mat, most likely your knees, unless you're very flexible or very strong, are going to fall inwards or outwards. You want to find an angle for your feet. Around 45-ish is good for most people. That allows your knees to track comfortably so that you can stay here. Because we're going to have a little bit of a hold here in a moment. We're going to get some real heat in our legs. First, we're going to pulse a few times. Bring your arms out to the sides. As you inhale, straighten your legs, bring your arms overhead. As you exhale, bend your knees, bring your arms to the sides. Range of motion is totally up to you. You could skip the legs or the arms at any point as needed. Again, we're working to build heat, so if you feel a lot of heat already, you don't need to keep going. If you don't feel heat after I'm done, you can keep going for a few more. It's simple. You can just move on when you're ready. You can always go deeper into the squat or take a break. We're going to do 3 more if you can. Add a few more if you need to. You're going to stay at the base of this next squat. Feel free to keep your hands to the side, to bring your hands to the heart, or to bring your hands onto your legs. You want to hold here. We're going to stay for about a minute, or as long as you possibly can. Squeeze your heels inwards towards one another. Feel your inner thighs activate. Press down into the pinky toe side of your foot, but without lifting your big toe away from the floor. Keep lifting the center of your chest so you're not hunching forward here in an effort to stay. And you're already halfway through. Can you take a few more deep breaths? If you absolutely must, of course, straighten your legs. But if you just feel heat and fatigue, see if you can stay just a little bit longer. Keep drawing the heels inwards. We're nearly there. Keep pressing into the outside edge of the foot, but maintain contact with the big toe to the floor. One more deep full breath. You did it. Straighten your legs. Turn your toes to face more to the long edge of the mat and fold forward. Oh, let it all go. As you're ready, you're going to press your fingertips into the floor. Lift yourself up halfway. You're going to walk back to the front of the mat. Right foot turns to face it. Left foot turns to face it. You're going to ground into your back toes here. We're going to come up into a crescent lunge. If you feel a little unstable today or you just prefer it, you can always take your back heel and set it down at that 45-degree angle for Warrior One. When you're ready, inhale to come all the way up. Roll your shoulders back. Square your hips to the front of the mat. Lift your arms overhead. Take a deep full breath here, relaxing your hips down towards the floor. Inhale again. And as you exhale, you're going to bend forward, taking your arms behind you. You're going to hold this lightning warrior again for about a minute. It's a long hold, so stay just as long as you can. Feel free to use a prop if needed, or to place your hands on your thigh. Again, the back heel could always be on the floor here, a little more of a supported position. Front knee should be stacked over the front ankle. You should be actively lifting your belly away from your thighs, shrugging your shoulders back away from your ears. And again, you just want to feel some nice heat building in your leg. Keep relaxing your shoulders and your jaw. Here, you should be able to spread your toes wide. So if you're gripping like death grip with your front toes, see if you can lift them up for a second, spread them out. Draw energy up through the arch of your foot. You're almost there. Take one more deep breath. And then release your hands to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog. Pedal things out, move around. Hopefully your right leg feels wonderfully full of fire and heat. You could stay right here. You could drop to a pose of rest, or you can join me in a little half vinyasa before we go to the other side. As you inhale, come forward to plank. Knees could be up or down. As you exhale, come to the floor. Inhale, cobra. You can take upward facing dog or sphinx if you prefer. As you exhale, release. Press back. We'll all meet in the next breath or two in table or downward dog to go to the second side. Inhale, lift lift your right leg to the, inhale, lift your left leg to the sky. Second leg, bend the left knee, stack the left hip on top of the right, find your scorpion. And then squaring your hips, step your right foot up between your hands. Walk your hands, I keep saying right foot, but it's your left foot. You're going to the left, second side. So your left foot should be at the front of the mat, and then you walk to the long edge of the mat. Left foot turns to face it. Right foot turns to face it. You're in your wide-legged forward fold. Take a few breaths here, relax. Feel free to add any props that make this feel nice, or any arm variations that feel good. From here, you're going to lift yourself halfway up. Feel free, of course, to place your hands on a prop, turn your toes out and your heels in and just a little bit, and work your way up into your goddess squat. And again, take a moment, really find a strong and stable place. We're going to go for a couple more pulses and another hold. Do the best that you can. Listen to your body. When you're ready, open your arms out to the sides. Inhale, straighten the legs, bring the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the arms down. And again, you make your own version. You can always adjust the movements to suit what's happening to your body today. Maybe you've only got like 3 squats in you today, and then you rest. Maybe you've got 15 and we're only doing 10. This is all about, again, that building of heat. And when you feel the heat, you don't need to keep going. You just want that warmth, that tingly sensation, that sensation of, oh, I can't do any more. Do 3 more if you're still going. Of course, if you need more, you can continue. If you're already resting, you can join back in a moment. You hold at the base of your squat. And again, your hands can be wherever they assist you in this. You want to hold for a minute. You want to roll your shoulders back. You want to lift the center of your chest. You want to draw your heels towards one another so your inner thighs are active. Your heels are pressing to the floor. Your pinky toes are pressing to the floor, but not so much that you fall backwards. Your big toes are still firmly in contact with the floor. You're just doing all of these things to really activate your legs in this hold. And it should feel nice and fiery. Even though we're not moving, you can probably feel the breath speeding up, the heart beating faster. You're almost there. One more deep breath. And then, straighten your legs. So nice. Turn your toes to the long edge of the mat and fold forward. We'll add a little twist in here. Plant your right hand underneath your nose, twisting to your left. You can bring your left hand to your hip or your left arm up to the sky. Shrug your shoulders back. And then bringing the left hand down, planting it underneath the nose. Twist over to the right, shrugging the shoulders back. Fold all the way down. Take a breath or 2 here in your wide-legged forward fold again, just relaxing. Feel free at any point to adjust the distance and the angle of your feet so this feels good to you. When you're ready, you're going to lift up halfway. And you're going to walk back to the front of the mat. The right foot turns to face it. The left foot turns to face it. And you're going to stay with your right foot forward and your left foot back. Your left foot forward and your right foot back. You're on the second side. I don't know what I'm talking about with left and right, but you should be on the side that is less tired as of yet because we still have 1 more set. The left foot is forward and you're going to come up to your crescent lunge or set your back heel down for your warrior 1. When you're ready, peel yourself up and take a couple breaths here just to get comfortable, get stable. Maybe a gentle stretch for the front of your body here, relaxing your shoulders. knowing that we're going to come to that hold in Lightning Warrior in just a moment. So when you're ready, you inhale, and as you exhale, you fold forward. You draw your arms behind you, and we're going to hold here. About 1 minute. Front knee is over the front ankle. You're lifting the belly away from the thighs. Imagine tucking your left hip in towards the center line of the body. If you need support, give it to yourself. Hands on the thigh, hands on a prop or 2 props. I want you to feel the burn, but not in a way that's going to cause you pain later. I just want you to feel some nice heat and fire in your hips so that we can use that heat to help us when we come down to the mat to stretch here in a few minutes. Actually, you're more than halfway there. You're almost all the way there. Take another deep breath, shrug your shoulders back, press down into your heels, spread your toes. And now release your hands down and step back to downward facing dog. Feel free to drop your knees to table if you prefer and move a little bit. Anything that feels nice or pleasant. There's no wrong way to kind of work things out here. And then now from your table or dog, we're going to come into a bit of pigeon. So you'll lift your right leg up to the sky as you inhale, and you'll step your right knee behind your right hand. And as usual, you have options for any variation on pigeon. I'm just going to go through a couple of options with you. If you know where you want to go, feel free to go there now. If not, you can explore and see which one works. If this feels okay for your knees, slide your left thigh back, placing it on the floor, untucking your toes. And then maybe that feels quite nice. You could experiment today. Maybe you stay propped up here. Maybe you use a prop. Maybe you like to fold a little bit forwards here. Might feel lovely. It might feel horrible. If it feels horrible and you don't care for this variation, your body says, no, this is not for me today. You could always try a pinwheel sitting on the outer edge of your right hip. You'll draw your left knee a little bit in so you have this lovely pinwheel shape with your legs. And from here you can fold forward. You can even come into a little bit of a twist here. As you come forward, you don't have to fold directly forward over the right knee. You could come and fold more over the right thigh. Maybe that feels good. Maybe that's not quite right either. Perhaps you come onto your back with your right ankle over the top of your left knee. I want you to feel your outer right hip here, getting a really nice stretch out. I don't want you to feel any pain or discomfort in your knees or your lower back. So go to the variation that gives you the least discomfort and the most stretch in kind of combination. We're going to stay here again for a little bit. So that's why you don't want to feel any discomfort. You're going to hang out here, and what I want you to be feeling is not when will it be over, when will it be over, when will it be over. start to release yourself. If you're in a forward-facing position, you might like to come back to a table or a downward-facing dog and kind of wiggle things around a little bit. If you're lying on your back, you could uncross your legs and maybe shake them out, wiggle your feet around, wiggle your hands around, whatever feels good. If you want to go into the second side from table or dog, you start there. I'll start there because I'm here. If you're on your back, you can simply cross your left ankle over the top of your right knee. When you're ready, if you're facing forward, left leg lifts, left knee comes behind the left hand. You can slide your right thigh back. This is kind of a more traditional variation of pigeon. So I like to practice with my foot quite folded in, almost so that my heel is in my groin. You can, of course, open your foot forward if that's something that's in your practice. I find that that is much too much torque on my own kneecap, so I always have a little bit of softness and fold in on my own knee. That might feel great. Maybe you like the pinwheel sitting on the outer right hip. Left knee draws in, and you can fold straight forward, kind of heart to left knee, or you can rotate around and do heart kind of facing over the center of your thigh a little bit. And of course, you can always come onto the back, left ankle over the top of the right knee, maybe even right knee in towards you. Don't hesitate to experiment. Even if you think you know where you want to go, if you get there and it doesn't feel quite right, why not change? Why not try something new and different? Things that have worked for a long time, sometimes we think, oh, well, that's just my variation. That's what my body likes. It's just the way that it is. But our bodies change. Our bodies evolve. We grow older. We take up new exercises, or we let go of exercises that we have been doing. Circumstances change. And so our yoga should be able to change too. Just because we did something for years, months, however long, doesn't mean it's always the right thing to do. Sometimes that change is temporary. It involves an injury, a new tightness, a new stressor. Sometimes that change is for good. Things just evolve differently. Give yourself the space to experiment with the idea that your practice can change and should change over time. And it's not that one way you move from tightness to flexibility that I think a lot of us want to imagine our yoga practice will progress in. Sometimes we veer off to the right or the left. Sometimes we have to turn around and start again. It is a wonderful parallel to life. Sometimes things go as we plan, as we expected, but oftentimes they do not. True flexibility is allowing yourself to change when change is needed. Not how far you can get into your pigeon pose or can you touch your toes on a given day. That's really not important. Can you be kind to yourself when you can't do something you thought you could do or should do? Can you change what maybe you are doing to accommodate what is happening? Flexible mind rather than just a flexible body. All right, when you're ready, you're going to lift yourself out of this side. If you're facing forward again, you can come back to table and dog and kind of move things around a little bit. Any movements that feel good to your body. If you were in downward facing dog or table, but you want to lie on your back and shake out your legs, go for it, or vice versa. If you came off your back, but you want another dog or table, cat, cow, do what feels just right. If you want to have vinyasa, go ahead and take one. You feel a little frisky today. Why not? You want to lie in child's pose for the next 30 seconds? Please do. What feels really good? What's right for today? When you finish whatever you needed to do to stretch things out, you're just going to make your way to seated. And you want space to stretch your legs out wide. I'm turning to face the long edge of my mat. One, so I'm facing you, but two, it gives me this space to bring my legs out wider. And wide is just whatever feels wide to you. This is a great place to use a prop sitting up onto a blanket, or several blankets, or a little pillow can be really quite nice. As you do this, you are going to assess how you feel. Are you sitting hunched and uncomfortable? Maybe you bring your legs a little closer together, or you add a prop. If you are still sitting hunched and uncomfortable, or you have to draw your knees in so that you can even start to sit up straight and tall, you might consider opting for the one-legged variation, which means you're going to fold your left foot in towards your groin. So you can practice with the left foot folded in or with both legs extended. Totally your choice. See what feels stable here. When you feel stable, lift your arms up. This is your inhale. As you exhale, you're going to lean over to your right. You can rest your hand on your leg or on a block or on the floor, coming back to our side stretch. This time, really pull the top arm a little back towards the back of the mat. Looking up again is totally optional. I like to bring my right elbow kind of to the inside of my right leg and press a little bit outwards, getting an extra inner thigh stretch. As you press the inside of the arm to the leg, press the inside of the leg to the arm. Create some dynamic resistance here. Inhale where you are. As you exhale, just like at the beginning of class, sitting cross-legged, you're going to take the left hand as close to the right hand, as close to the right foot as you can, and then walk to the center line. Just a couple breaths here. Feel free to move. We're going to be totally still. And this is a tough one. You may find that you only get a few inches forward. That is totally fine. This is a very difficult pose because it involves hamstring, hip, and inner thigh, and lower back flexibility all at the same time. As you're ready, you're going to walk yourself all the way back in and roll your shoulders back. Now, if you're practicing with the left foot folded in, you're going to extend the left leg and fold the right foot in. Same thing to the other side. Lift the arms up when you feel stable. And as you exhale, lean over to the left. Maybe taking the arm up over your head. And you really want to think about pulling a little bit back. So now maybe you feel the stretch at the front of the shoulder as well. You can do the arm to the inside of the leg, a little bit of pressure between them, creating a little bit more dynamic work. This might not even have a full Sanskrit name. I can't think what it is, but when I first started teaching yoga, a friend called this broken doll. It looks like a broken doll. So you can imagine you're kind of like a broken doll. You're flopped over to the side. That's what I always call this in my mind and in my notes. A little gust of breeze comes along and you blows your doll arm, your top doll arm, your right doll arm down towards the foot and then towards the center line. You move around here if it feels good, or you just relax. On an inhale, walk your fingertips in. Roll your shoulders back. You're going to gather your knees in as needed with your hand. Place the soles of the feet on the floor. Now you're going to extend the legs out in front of you. And bring the sole of your left foot in. You could practice this twist with the sole of the left foot on the inside of the right leg or on the outside. If your hips feel quite open, you can always fold your bottom foot in. Lift your arms up as you breathe in. As you breathe out, twist to your left. Shrug your shoulders away from your ears. And just let this feel really nice for your hips and for your lower back. On an inhale, come back to the center line. We're going to go into a little bit of a shoelace or a Gomukhasana pose. If you're sitting as I'm sitting and you have your bottom foot folded in and you feel very stable here, you can start going towards your Gomukhasana by drawing your left foot a little over to the side, lowering your left knee towards your right knee. And that might feel quite comfortable if your hips are feeling really open. If your hips don't feel that open, even if you're sitting with this bottom foot folded in, you're going to extend that bottom foot, the right leg. And here, you want, if you have not already done so, to cross your left foot to the outside of your right leg. And then you might just sit here. This might feel hugging the knee in towards you, like plenty of a stretch in the hips and in the kind of pelvis at the back. If you need a little more, you can lift this foot up and move it out to the side, stacking the left knee down towards the right knee. So you can be practicing with the bottom leg extended or the bottom leg folded in. See what feels good to you. Either way, if it feels quite intense, you might lean a little back like we've been doing. If it feels not intense enough, you might lean a little forward. Keep drawing your left hip a little back, regardless of where you are. And just assess. How does that feel? Maybe you change things up. More breaths here. Don't hesitate to move if you need to. You want to feel that stretch in the hips. As you're ready, gently release. You're going to walk your hands in. You can use them to help you unwind your legs. Maybe even take some windshield wipers like we started with, knees from side to side. When you're ready, you extend your legs in front of you. We'll go first to the twist. So the right foot draws in. You can practice with a foot on the inside of the thigh. If your hips are feeling tight, that's a really nice option. You have a little bit of space, maybe the foot to the outside of the thigh. If you have a lot of space, your hips are feeling flexible, you can come with the foot, and that's the left foot folded in on the bottom. Whatever you choose, lift your arms up, breathe in. And as you exhale, breathe out. I didn't mention this on the other side, but you can always be sitting up on a prop here to create a little more space in your lower back. And again, this should just feel really good. This isn't about how far you can go, or if you are in that linear fashion progressing deeper with each practice. It's just about, does it feel nice? Are you doing something kind for your body? It's like a little treat. It's the kind of treat where you both enjoy how delicious it is and you feel virtuous. Yummy, it's also good for you. As you're ready, you're going to unwind, come all the way back to the center line. Stretch your legs in front of you. Give them a little wiggle, a little shake, and we'll go to the other side. So now The right foot can cross over to the outside, and you can just keep moving that right knee down towards the left knee. Don't hesitate to use props in here as needed. If you feel a little more flexible, you can bring that bottom foot in. Find the variation that works for you. Again, if it feels really intense, lean back. That's going to release the pressure from the hips. If it doesn't feel like enough, lean forward. And again, just be open. Be open to the idea that you might have to change what you think should happen. You might notice that this side is way tighter than the other side and requires a totally different variation. At least to start with. You have a bit of time to hang around here, so take your time to get into a place that feels good. There's no rush. Hitting your right hip a little back. Adjusting as needed. Where is the appropriate place right now for your body? More deep breaths here. Gently walk your fingertips in. Unwind your legs. You can give them a wiggle, a shake. Windshield wipers, whatever feels right. Then you're going to roll yourself all the way down to lie on your back. We're going to finish off our practice with a twist. And you can, of course, do any comfortable reclined twist here. You could take the knees to the chest and bring them over to one side. That might feel right for you. You might like to cross your knees before bringing them over to the side. That's quite popular for people with more flexible hips. I find with my generally tighter hips that sometimes is a little too much. You could bring one leg to the bottom of the mat and cross just one leg over. You could bring the soles of your feet to the floor and do windshield wiper style twist. Again, be open and experiment and see what feels just right. As you bring your knees over to the side, take a few deep breaths. When you're ready, you simply switch sides in your twist. Finding the space that feels just right for you. And again, this is just a release. This should just feel nice and pleasant. You've had lots of intensity. This is a place where the intensity is no longer required, where the intensity level is dialed way down. If you got up to a 10 on those holds, you want to be about a 1 or a 2 here. When you're ready, draw your knees back towards you. You might draw them into your chest or a little Apanasana. You can rock a little bit, massaging the back of your pelvis and your low back. You could go to Happy Baby if you want, soles of the feet to the sky. If there's any other pose or shape that your body would like, feel more than free to add that in. Making your way towards Shavasana, towards any comfortable resting place for your body today. As you arrive in Shavasana, close your eyes. Let your breath slow down. Let your whole body relax. When it is time to return to your day, take a deep breath in and a gentle sigh out. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe turn your head a little right to left. Eventually making your way all the way over to one side to rest. A few breaths. For making your way to your most comfortable seated position today. As you arrive there, gathering your hands in front of your heart. We'll close with our deep breath together, in through the nose, out through the mouth, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice and your time